Hey, can you hear me? Hey, can you hear me? Okay, hang on. All right. I guess I will be using the bad microphone. I will be using my webcam microphone. I'm not sure what happened. So, let's see. Yes. Okay, I guess you can hear me now. You can hear me now. All right, well, let's try this nonsense again, shall we? Oh man. Let me do a reset and try it one more time. Here we go. All right, here we are. Dollar in the all right jar. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Today we're talking about the twisted, and contorted definitions of words and how they're being used to create bias and confusion. It's like a game of telephone, but instead of passing on a message, we're passing on propaganda. Let's start with the word rigged. Oh yeah. It used to mean something was fixed, maybe manipulated, but now it seems like it depends on who's saying it. If the Republicans say it, it might mean voter fraud. It might mean hiding valid information. If a Democrat says it, they're talking about the system and how it works against the little guy. It's like the word has become a political Rorschach test, and the ink blots are just different shades of partisan. And then there's transparency. It used to mean being open and honest about what's going on, but now it's just used to justify everything from releasing heavily redacted documents to holding closed-door meetings. It's like transparency has become a code word for, we'll tell you what you want to hear, but not the whole truth. My favorite, though, is bipartisan. It used to mean finding common ground, working together, regardless of political party. Now it's a unicorn, something we all wish existed but never actually see in the wild. It's like bipartisan has become a buzzword for politicians to throw around when they want to sound like they're working for the greater good, but never actually follow through. Yeah. In all seriousness, words have consequences. They shape our understanding of the world and influence our actions. We need to be aware of the ways in which words are being twisted and redefined to fit someone's agenda. And we need to hold those accountable, even if it means calling out our own team. Yeah. Because if we can't agree on the definitions of words, how are we ever supposed to have a meaningful conversation about issues that really matter? Remember, if you're going to play with words, sooner or later, someone's going to call you out. There's no better time than right now. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffee and Nuance Show, the best censored commentary and news show live. Right now, flame on. Okay, so to be crystal clear, clear, I do not advance any false claims that widespread fraud, errors, or glitches occurred in certain past elections to determine heads of government. I make no claim that the certified results of those elections were false, and when I'm talking about this, I am talking about any past U.S. presidential election. I also am talking about the 2021 German federal election. Additionally, I'm also talking about the 2014, 2018, and 2022 Brazilian presidential elections. So nothing I mentioned there would affect any of those elections. We just want to be really clear on that. That's annoying that I have to do that, isn't it? Yeah. What's rigged mean? Well, it depends. It really depends on who's saying it. You know, it came up. I just Googled, what does rigged mean? Verb, past tense, rigged. Manage or conduct something fraudulently so as to produce a result or situation that is advantageous to a particular person. Charges of vote rigging. So, to be clear, one definition that someone has of something is that there's something might be a little fishy and maybe it might advantage somebody. That's rigged. You'll hear this often when the Democrats talk about how the system is rigged against, I don't know, pick anybody. Short people, obese people, people of color, people of the LGBTQ community, immigrants, women, handicapped, whatever. They will say that the system is rigged because the system gives some people an advantage over other people. However, when we're talking about the last presidential election, the media has a very specific definition of rigged. And their definition is that there was not widespread fraud that would have changed the end result of the election. That's what the media and the Democrats have agreed what rigged means, even though that may be different than the definition that's in the dictionary and the definition that many of us use every day. But that's the definition that they have. And why does this come up? Because this is what we're talking about here.
Nobody's
President Trump, I want to stay on the issue of race. We're talking about the issue.
from hell.
President Trump, we're
Nobody.
talking about race right now, and I do want to stay on the issue of race. President Trump,
And I
you've
have
just
to respond to that.
Please,
Because look,
very
there
quickly.
are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the five former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
And that's exactly what.
Is this
that's
where you're
exactly
going?
what.
This
was
is
told.
where he's going. The laptop is Russia,
Yes.
Gentlemen,
Russia.
I want to stay on the issue of race.
You
okay?
have to be kidding.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about. Now, as it turns out, Trump had this town hall on CNN the other night, and he made claims that the election was rigged. And what was very telling in that moment is he was trying to give his definition of what rigged meant. But the moderator, the interviewer, immediately talked over him and said that, again, there's no evidence of widespread fraud that may have changed the outcome of the whole election. So when someone says that something's rigged, if we're being fair, right? If we're being fair, you would ask, well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? And what Trump was saying in the town hall was that, for example, the intelligence community coming together to write this letter that they knowingly knew was wrong to dismiss news of the Hunter Biden laptop. He said, well, that was showing that things were rigged. If you had allowed him to explain what he meant by that term, you might say, oh, okay, I understand that point. But instead, what CNN does, what all of the media do, is they jump in with their own definition of what rigged is. This definition didn't exist prior to this election. But the definition is that there was, the current definition of rigged for the last election was that rigged meant that there was widespread fraud that would have changed the outcome of the election. That is their new definition of rigged. And so when you fact check this, when you see CNN, Anderson Cooper talking about saying Trump's false claims about the election, you really need to be specific. Because one of the claims that Trump was making was about how the intelligence community conspired to put out this statement about the laptop. Well, that was true. That was true. And this is a trick that is done by the media. This is a trick that's done by politicians where they just keep changing the word depending on who's saying it. You know? We see this a lot. Like, what does equality mean? What does equity mean? What does being a woman mean? All of these things seem to have shifting definitions. And I don't think that we can really exist if we can't decide on what a definition is. So in this case for rigged, if the definition of that is, widespread fraud that would have changed the result of the election, what would be a word that we could use that's not rigged, that means there may have been a little funny business? But you can't use rigged, because that has a new definition as of now, right? Especially on this platform that I'm speaking. So, yeah, I can't give you my conclusion whether or not statements made in the CNN town hall are correct or not. It really just depends on what your definition is. Yeah, that's all I can say about that. That's all I got. But what do you think? Should we come up with a new word? A new word that means the same thing as what, the dictionary definition of rigged, right? Can we come up with a word that means to conduct something fraudulently to produce a result that advantages a particular person? Can we come up with a word? Because we can't call that rigged anymore, apparently. We can't call that rigged. So what's a word that we can use to describe this definition that I have on the screen? Because I'd like to know. Because I guess we need a new word. Because if we use the old word, we'll be canceled immediately and called fraudulent and a liar and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's all I can say about that. We do have a good show for you today, though. I'm going to get to some very interesting stories, roll through them all, ending up with some good news that may affect your weekend. So stick around for that. But first, we're going to talk about something that started right here on YouTube. A 29-year-old YouTuber named Trevor Daniel Jacob will plead guilty to a federal charge after he purposefully crashed a plane to gain views and destroyed the wreckage to hinder the investigation. He admitted to planning the crash in a video he made to promote a wallet and collected the aircraft's wreckage to hide it from federal investigators. Jacob, a pilot and skydiver, ejected from the plane about 35 minutes of flying and videoed himself parachuting to the ground. He then hiked to the wreck, took the video data of the crash with him, and later destroyed the wreckage. Jacob is expected to appear in court in the coming weeks and has agreed to plead guilty to one count of destruction and concealment with the intent to obstruct a federal investigation. So I guess Trevor Jacob Noah learned the hard way that there's no such thing as bad publicity unless you're facing a federal charge. So that's what I have to say about this. Did you happen to see this when this took place? I think this was maybe, 2 years ago? I remember this coming up, and I saw videos on it where people were kind of debunking his plane crash. And clearly he had not thought out everything that he needed to do to pull off this trick. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a fake plane crash. The plane actually did crash. But, this is something that he set up in an attempt to go viral. It's kind of sad that people will go to these extremes to try to go viral. It makes me think, what would I do to go viral? I certainly wouldn't crash a plane. And probably, I guess I don't care about it enough to actually do something like that. But you got to hand it to him. He did go all out. I mean, that's a pretty, I think, somewhat dangerous thing to do. Jump out of a plane that has no pilot because you're the pilot. But yeah, I did watch the original investigations of people that were doing it on YouTube, pointing out the errors when he was trying to cover his tracks. So it's interesting that this has finally come to court. So, did you follow this story at all? I seem to have forgotten most of it, but I thought it was an interesting thing to come up. But next, let's talk about Yeezy. Adidas will resume selling its remaining stock of Kanye West's Yeezy line, donate the proceeds to charity, according to the company's CEO Bjorn Gulden. Adidas terminated its partnership with West in October after the rapper made anti-Semitic remarks on social media. The company considered several options for what to do with the unsold stock, including destroying it, which would have cost almost $550 million. West's line accounted for nearly 10% of Adidas' annual revenue. The sportswear company will now focus on reestablishing itself as a sports brand by concentrating on basketball and soccer. So, my attempt at a joke here. Adidas is donating the proceeds from Kanye's Yeezy line to charity. Well, I guess you could say they're turning Yeezys into Charities. Nothing like a bad pun or an attempted pun on a Friday. That's just terrible. Oh man. I was surprised that they shelved the Yeezy brand when they distanced themselves from Kanye. I would have thought traditionally what the businessman would have done would just be, okay, we've cut ties with him and now everything is on clearance. I think if they had done that originally, they wouldn't be dealing with this. It makes me wonder why they didn't do that. That seems to be the logical thing to do. And I don't think there would have been a backlash against Adidas if they immediately put everything up for clearance. To me, it tells me that I don't know. They don't really know what's going on. The people in charge don't seem to be making very wise business decisions. If you've got, over $1 billion worth of merchandise, you don't just destroy it, right? You just put it up for clearance. No one would have an issue with that. Now, on a side note, this is a little funny story. When I was in Colombia last fall, I went to a place and they had all this counterfeit shoes. They had a lot of counterfeit shoes in this mall. And they had Yeezys for sale and Air Jordans and all kinds of stuff. And I thought, oh, this would be fun. I'll get a pair of Yeezys. Why not, right? And Columbia tops out at about a 9.5 on the shoe size scale. And everywhere I went, I would ask if they had anything in my size, and they would, say, what size you got? Doce, yo soy doce, I wear a 12, and they would just laugh because there was not a single shoe for sale in the country that I could find that was my size. So I did not get a pair of counterfeit Yeezys. I wanted a pair. I thought it would have been fun, but I think the biggest pair I ever saw was maybe a 10. So, as much as I could cram my foot, I couldn't cram my foot into a size 10. Couldn't happen. Anyway, that's just a little side note on that. But we got some new news happening about Twitter. Elon Musk has announced that Linda Yaccarino, a former NBC Universal media executive, will become the new CEO of Twitter, with Musk focusing on product design and new technology. Yaccarino led advertising at NBC Universal for more than 10 years and oversaw a team of more than 2,000 people. Musk previously announced that he'd picked someone to take over his role, but did not reveal their identity. Yaccarino replaces Jack Dorsey, who resigned in December 2021. I don't know about this pick, and this could just be a troll. I don't understand this pick at all by Elon. We'll just have to see what happens. NBC is pretty much the corporation of the State Department. If you want to know what the U.S. State Department thinks about something, just watch NBC News, because that is, I don't have any direct evidence, but they line up 100% of the time, NBC News and what the U.S. State Department says about things. So, yeah, here's a picture of Yaccarino. Speaking at the World Economic Forum. Yeah. That's not the look you want for someone that's supposed to head up a media company that's promoting free speech. Because the World Economic Forum and free speech do not go together whatsoever. The WEF always talks about, hey, how can we censor people for the good of the world? So I don't know about this move. I don't know about this move at all. But it could just... I would be surprised if she is the CEO a month from now. But we'll see. We'll see. I have not had enough time to really go into her background, but if you have any thoughts about her, let me know in the comments. And lastly, I want to get to some good news. That's right, we're talking about Eurovision. The 67th Eurovision Song Contest is taking place in Liverpool this year, and the grand finale is Saturday. Eurovision is a beloved competition showcasing diverse musical tastes and interests across Europe, and it's been around since the late 50s. Each country gets one entry. Each act only gets 3 minutes on stage, and all songs must be original. The contest is popular in Europe, with around 160 million people tuning in last year, and it's safe for all ages. And it's not just Europe who participates in Eurovision. Countries like Israel and Australia are members of the European Broadcasting Union and participate. The U.S. does not take place in the competition, but American singers like Madonna and Justin Timberlake have performed during intervals. Eurovision has launched the careers of some singers like ABBA. This year, Ukraine cannot host Eurovision due to the ongoing war. So the UK is staging it on behalf of Ukraine. So Europe, they finally found something they're better at than America. Cheesy pop music. And it is demonstrated in Eurovision. Have you seen Eurovision before? Because it is so much fun. It is so much fun. It's going to take place tomorrow. I believe it's going to be noon here on the West Coast. It is streaming on Paramount, and it may have to be the Paramount Plus or Paramount Premium. It'll be streaming in the US. But it is so much fun. Each country, now they've, it starts off with all the countries that are involved, and then they'll have different semifinals and whittle it down to a final 24, I guess, is what they're down to now. But I'm really excited about this. This is really so much fun. There's more pageantry in this than, think of like an American Idol or The Voice, but times 100. They have these insane stages, ridiculous costumes. Everything has to be sung live. That's important to keep in mind, because you may see them and think that they're lip syncing, but everything is sung live. Although, a little trivia, no instruments are played live whatsoever. So anytime that there's a band, they're faking it. But everything is sung live. I'm thinking of who are my favorites for this year. I might go with Norway. I think it's Norway. And Spain, I think, are my own personal favorites, having looked at the lineup. I don't care for joke bands. I don't care for joke bands, and there's definitely some of those this year. Yeah. And if you've never seen Eurovision, I encourage you to check it out. You can just look at some clips online, on YouTube and Rumble. Do a little searching. Check out who's playing Eurovision this year. It's really so much fun. The costumes are over the top. Will Ferrell did a movie about Eurovision a couple years ago, where he pretended his character, it was a comedy, and his character was from Iceland, and they were in the competition. It was a fun comedy movie. You can check that out. I think it's on Netflix. But anyway, that's the good news for today. Stick around for the after show. I'll be going through all your comments. And yeah, that's it. I hope you have an awesome weekend. Hope you're able to check out Eurovision. It really is a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. I'll definitely be watching. But stick around for the after show. Until then, I'll see you later. Peace. Here we are. Let's see. There we go. Duggo hit me up with a 5. I appreciate that, Duggo. Fact Check Friday, enjoy the silence edition. Yes, I am not on this microphone. I'm using the microphone on this, on my iMac here. So I know it probably doesn't sound nearly as good. Nice disclaimer about the election fraud, Tom. YouTube is sure to stop suppressing you now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Their logo screams pro-war propaganda vision. does kind of look like the WEF's logo for sure. Election fornication. So thanks to everyone for letting me know that you couldn't hear me. That is, I have no idea. Every day it's something, right? Every day it's something. And yes, Natasha, you did a great job of throwing up in the chat that there was no sound. I just didn't look. It's very, very frustrating. 1950s quiz show scandal was about rigging. Yes. Interesting that the Democratic narrative was that Trump talked over the moderator. Yeah. They talked over each other, for sure. CNN got blown out of the water by Trump. That's what it looks like to many people. That is what it looks like to many people. I like this little illustration. It's what I totally do not look like at all. But, you know, AI, that's what they did of me. Yeah, it's kind of close, I guess. Let's see. This is so true, Tom. Great piece. There were improprieties. Used tweaked to gross proportions. Okay. That's not how my vote blue no matter who friends see it. They think she ripped him a new one. Yeah, it really is interesting that just how different people can see the same thing. Doug says, I remember seeing the fake plane crash video. I remember that as well. And I totally forgot about it until I saw it, you know, in the news last night. I understand jumping out of planes, but to wreck a perfectly good plane? Yeah, bad idea. Groan, the highest compliment to a bad pun. I agree. I don't know, I was probably loopy last night when I was writing that. There is no objective reality. It's not about definitions. There is there is objective reality, says Super Noob Smith. It's not about definitions. That's just dumb. Treason. The term you want for NBC, Tom, is apparatchik. Well, I'm going to need to double search what that meaning is, just to make sure. WEF, you can say whatever you want as long it's about as how yummy bugs are. Yes, the WEF does promote the eating of bugs for the hoi polloi like us. Obviously not, they're not eating bugs on private jets, though. Eurovision, never heard of it. Eurovision is really fun. It's really fun. It's just each country has a representative, and they do a pop song. They sing it live, and the costumes and the dancing is way over the top. So I think it's a lot of fun. Tom, you're getting faster at discovering the glitches. I hope my abundant use of stop signs helps. Yeah, but I didn't figure it out quick enough. Avoiding my China comment. Well, Doug, here's the thing, Doug. I don't see a China comment that you made. So perhaps that was removed by the algorithm, because I'm not seeing any China comment. Okay, let's see. Way up here at the top. Let's see. Biden to let their spy balloon to fly over the U.S. Okay. I hope that message isn't censored. Okay. Yeah, there was a Chinese spy balloon. I guess I did see that message. Anyway. That's all we got today. I'll keep working. I'll keep trying to figure out, get the system back working. What can I do? It's always something. It's always something. I need an engineer. That's what I need. Right here running this studio for me. But we'll get it sorted out. Anyway, that's all I got for you this weekend, or today. I hope you have an awesome Friday. Get out there and do something. This weekend, get out there and do something. And if you happen to be inside, you can watch Eurovision live or watch it later, because chances are you're not going to get any spoilers. Unless you're on Twitter, right? You're not going to get any spoilers, so who cares? Watch it Saturday night. You can do that. Anyway, hope you all have a beautiful day. I'll see you next time. Peace.